Hello there, it's Josh here from racingtoprofit.co.uk. Hopefully you can hear me, see me in the bottom right hand corner. In front of you is my blog, and I'll log into the members there in a moment. You should be watching this uh, if you have just signed up or recently signed up and became a member. And maybe within one of the trial periods. And this is a welcome video to kind of introduce you and show you around the blog and the members club, kind of what you can expect, what you can get stuck into. There's plenty of things you can read and flick through below this video and within the welcome post, a link to which you can find in each day's daily members post, which I'll get onto in a minute. I'll log in first of all, so I'll cover some kind of basics and various other things, and touch on the emphasis and the purpose of our little corner of the racing space at Racing to Profit. So hopefully what's in front of you, you can see is the home screen to the blog. If you're on desktop or tablet, you will see the login box to the right hand side here. There's an email link here if you ever get stuck, and you can click that and you should be able to drop me an email, or you can comment either in the free post or the members post or wherever you want. So yes, you can log in with your details to the right hand side. There's a lost password function. You can edit your profile and do various different things. So I've just kind of logged in. So we're kind of within the members area here. If I kind of press the home button in the top left, you'll see all the posts, including any free posts and various others, and they will load as you flick down through. I should say I'm going to get an app built because the blog could be better on mobile, but it's still perfectly usable. The best way to log in on mobile is actually just to click on a members post. If you're on your phone, and you should be redirected to the login page, so that should work just fine, and you should be able to access the members posts. Before I kind of get into those, just a brief bit on the purpose. The idea of the blog, both the free content, the free report systems, and indeed the members content, is to try and make racing enjoyable and your experience of horse racing enjoyable, entertaining and profitable over time. What you kind of get from me is hard graft, honesty, self-deprecating sense of humor every now and then, and yes, a kind of relentless perfectionism in a way, to try and make both mine and your experience of this great sport enjoyable and profitable over time. Winning a horse racing is tough, really tough. Even well, it's advisable always to start betting small and building up. But if you read various different reports, only 1 to 3% of people who bet on horse racing regularly actually come out on top over time, which may indicate how tough it is. It takes patience, of course, starting small, as I mentioned, kind of not diving in too quick, which I did when I first started getting into horse racing. It takes discipline, which is mainly in the head, and we're all fallible on that point, and lose a bit of discipline every now and then, but generally that's the main aim. And yes, try not to run before you can walk, I suppose. The other general theme is about choice. I like to give you choice in the content that I provide, and I'll flick through some of that in a moment. But you kind of get my opinion through the tipping element. You get my unique research, a lot of it trainer based, but big race trends as well, track stats, all sorts really. And you get kind of an engaged community and the opportunity to comment and post comments and engage with other members on the blog. I should say I'm recording this is a kind of refreshed welcome video, given the start of the jump season proper is just warming up, and I'm speaking to you on the 7th of October 2019. So yes, you kind of get choice where you can follow some of my tips, which I'll get into in a moment, and what I specialize in, and the 4 big main jumps festivals as well. You also get the opportunity to follow some systems and strategies, kind of some advice strategies. There's only kind of 2 or 3 of those across the jumps and the flat. So you've got those kind of off the shelf things in terms of my tips and those strategies which you can follow, starting small with appropriate banks, which I can get into, and building up over time. But then you've also got loads of other content and stats content and horses that qualify against various different things I've researched, which you can use if you wish as part of your own daily deliberations with working out what horses you may want to bet on yourself. And I know some of the best horses you back and some of the best winners you find are ones where you've kind of done the work yourself. And I try and provide information that may help on that, and some kind of educational stuff along the way in terms of how I look at racing and how I've developed and continue to do so, I hope, in terms of my racing brain, for want of a better phrase. With write-ups and videos and various different other things that you may find useful. So that's kind of the fundamentals and the purpose, I suppose, and the opportunities you're going to have. If I kind of go on to some admin issues, I should mention the first thing on that front is all the payment systems and everything are automated. They're quite deliberate to avoid a lot of admin faff. But of course, because I do it that way round, and some of you may forget you've got a payment coming up, etc., etc., I have always offered a no questions asked refund for any accidental payments. If, God forbid, you wish to leave the members club, it wasn't for you, and it's not for everyone. And you forget and a payment comes out, a monthly payment or whatever, just email me, get in touch. I'll find it, I'll refund it, no questions asked, no bother. The second thing I should mention is, so yes, onto the members posts. I start to pull these together and post the first kind of amount of stats content. And if I go on kind of, well, today's might not be great. I'm trying to find a good example because where there's actually a fair bit of content which isn't there. Hold on a second. Let's have a look. Yeah, this will do. From the 4th. So yes, I post the first kind of set of stats content, which are the qualifiers against my Trainer Track stats pack, which I've just finished researching for the new jump season. So the blog starts to come together the evening before. I usually post the qualifiers against my stats around by 6 p.m. So kind of between 5 and 6, sometimes a bit earlier. And then the next day's content, which I'll get onto on the morning, is generally my tipping content, which I'll get onto in a moment. So and Monday to Friday, the posts are always complete by 10 a.m. on the morning. There's never any new content after that. And at weekends by 11 a.m. During the week, my tipping content is mainly or usually done by 9 a.m. But you can kind of track how a post is coming by what comes in the bracket, because there'll be an update at a time, which will make sense as the next few days go on, and you can see complete there. So what I should say as I kind of ramble on, the daily members post, there are 4 parts, quite straightforward. There are my tips, there are qualifiers against the stats pack, there's a micro system test zone, and there's any kind of general messages, updates, new reports, etc. The my tips are fairly straightforward. I specialize in handicap chases. I kind of started this blog way back when, well, it wasn't too long ago, I suppose, 2013, 2014, kind of looking at handicap chases, trips to Aintree, the Beecher Chase, races like that kind of got me into those, the old Rowan, Monet's Gardens race. And yeah, I kind of blogged about them. And if I'm being honest, which I always am, earlier in this year and kind of last jump season, I tried to, and into the flat, I tried to expand my ability into handicap hurdles, weekday handicap hurdles, flat handicaps, all sorts, and that both proved unprofitable for a variety of reasons, and dented on the handicap chases, which is what I specialise in. It's what I enjoy analysing. There are better people out there analysing flat handicaps than I am, and I don't mind admitting that. So I specialise in mainly staying handicaps, and I kind of started to focus again on them at kind of late February. At which point the kind of daily tips were about 16 points down, the main tips, and since I focused on them, the profit has been decent. You can kind of add 16 points to that 46. The ROI has been solid, but I realised that I love and enjoy analysing handicap chases. So there's no reason not to start dabbling in handicap chases over a shorter distance. And I'm on the blog post here, not deliberately out loud, just because I know this one has quite a bit of content on. Mellow Ben added to this kind of test where I'm testing myself over a shorter distance, and you can kind of track those or read those or do whatever. I'm pretty confident in my ability in those races long term, and at some point they'll probably get wrapped up just into the daily chase tips, because they're both kind of ticking along rather well and both operating at a kind of 80% or so return on investment, which is useful. So yes, that's where my tips can be found. I rarely, if ever, tip the evening before. You won't get me put up mad standout prices, which no one can get. I like attacking the racing with a fresh brain the next day, quite deliberately so. And tips normally go up between kind of 8 and 9 a.m. kind of during the week. And similar at weekends, but of course you can get a lot more racing on Saturdays, say when the jump season hots up and some bigger fields and stuff. So there's an 11 a.m. cut off then. So you kind of get a tip, and then kind of a bit later on, a kind of write-up will follow, so you can see my thinking, you can see why I like the horse, you can see my thinking about the opposition. You can read through those, you might find them interesting, you might disagree with elements. I may say things about other horses which make you think that they may be worth a go. So yes, you get those. The second section are the qualifiers against the stats pack. Each year I research kind of trainer track profiles against a portfolio, a kind of template, sorry, I have. You have access to, there's a link in that within this welcome post near the bottom, within some of the research articles and materials and reports. So the qualifiers against those research stats form the basis of section 2. I'm going to record a separate shorter video looking at section 2 actually, which explains what all these symbols and everything else are, because you might find those confusing initially, but it's all rather straightforward. But yes, you get the qualifiers against those stats packs. These lead to certain strategies, which are what these symbols are next to them, which I'll go into. These bold symbols indicate if a horse hits a certain strategy, but I'm going to go into those in a separate video. But you've got strategies you can follow, or you can use these qualifiers as part of your own deliberations. You may focus on certain races, and maybe certain trainers you follow, etc. But it kind of gives you a list of horses in any particular meeting that you may wish to attack if you so wish. You can see there's a link in every daily members post to a welcome post which has this video in and various other information below. In section 3 there's a microsystem test zone. I've kind of geared this a lot towards chases and handicap chases this year. I'll go on to kind of those in a moment, but there's some jockey angles, chase angles, and a few others. And I kind of use all my stats content as part of my own deliberations when going to tip within section 1 above. And again, I wouldn't advise, and I don't advise, A, following all the horses listed in section 2. Please don't do that. And B, don't follow all of the test zone either systematically. There's a reason there's a test zone. I will update results over time, and of course you can make a judgment yourself. But all really is kind of information provided to help you in your own punting if you so wish. But of course there's my tips to follow, which you may just want to stick to. Again, like I said at the beginning, it's all about choice. What else have we got here? Yes, Saturday big race trends. I look at any kind of 16 plus runner, class 2 and above trends races on a Saturday, and I will kind of do the research for those on a Thursday for those who like to attack it. I'll then put any horses that are kind of listed against trainers that have won the race before, and a short list against my stats. This was from Saturday, I think Kinran run, and I'm not sure if he was ever a massive price, but still. So you've got, again, that's part of the information. During the flat season, I provide and I research kind of trainer pointers and jockey pointers for the big flat festivals. And then the main focus during the winter season, festival wise, is Cheltenham, obviously in March, Aintree, Punchestown, and then Galway. You can see here, I would have separate banks for my daily chase tips, so kind of 100 points. Should be more than fine for those, and possibly the same for Jumps Festival tips. 2018 was a great year. 2019 so far not, but they're difficult races, and it's not easy to continuously win over time. But long term, profit wise, we're doing just fine. What's the final thing I want to say as I tick around past 15 minutes? You will see these tabs to the side. So members posts, you can click, and all the members posts will come up in one place. Like I said, if you click home, you get access to all the others. There's various other tabs. There's results there, updates in the results tab, free reports and systems, various different things you can flick through there. Back to home, there's about the blog, there's about me, there's some privacy stuff. So yes, you can click the members post to get members post. And Micro Monday, I brought this in kind of a few weeks back just to give some structure, research structure of the week, and some added stuff you may wish to get stuck into. So each Monday, I kind of pull together a micro systems post where I look at a trainer or a jockey or something or other that you can get stuck into. I try and record some videos and everything else every now and then. So that's just some research that you might just find interesting to read, or you can use again in your own punting, etc. Tracker Tuesday, these focus on chasers, and I'll try and find at least one horse from the previous week that caught my eye that I'll try and keep an eye on for their next kind of 1 to 3 runs. But again, of course, you're free to add those in a tracker and add any notes to them in terms of what I say, so you can flick through those. And like I said, Trends Thursday, not quite sure what happened then. Trends Thursday are, yes, the 1 or 2 major handicaps for the following Saturday. I will pull together the stats and trends for that race on the Thursday, for those of you who may like to get stuck in earlier and like handy post betting or whatever. And yes, so that's that really. So you can go back to the members posts or home and all the posts, etc. I think that covers roughly everything I wanted to in this video. I know it's 17 minutes, but what I kind of do is very, very different. Of course, if you just want to follow tips, it's pretty straightforward. You're looking at section 1 in the daily members post. But outside of that, of course, there's plenty you can get stuck into. I suppose, mention there's a comments bit, so you can post a comment below. There's various different members who post their tips and ideas. There's questions, there's discussions. If there's anything racing related you want to ask, if there's a horse you fancy, if you want someone's opinion, my opinion on something, just post away. I am happy for members to do kind of through the cards. So if you're off racing, I don't mind having a flick through, time allowing. Do give me kind of 2 or 3 days notice, and I don't mind kind of coming up with a horse per race and a few notes, and they kind of do okay over time actually. So that's an option. What else should I say? Down the right hand side here, you may not be on Twitter. I'm active enough. It's a great resource actually, because the racing community is pretty strong, but I mainly only tweet 99% of the time about horses and things. You can actually watch these videos through this kind of latest tweets on the right, which is linked to my Twitter, and there's various different things you might find interesting that I found interesting, links to different stuff, and you can just kind of flick through and do whatever. So that's there. So I think that's it as I tick round to 19 minutes. I will do, like I said, a separate video on section 2 on kind of the stats qualifiers and explain what some of all those symbols were and different stuff. And I'll try and keep that a hell of a lot shorter than this video. But I hope you found that interesting. Like I said, take your time. Don't dive in with anything. There's information below this video and information on betting banks and different other stuff, depending on what you may wish to follow. Start small. Start betting £2, £2.50 if you wish, but just make sure you have adequate banks, especially for the tipping content and any strategies you may follow, and enjoy the ride really. Hopefully, if I do my job properly, you will enjoy horse racing and jumps racing in particular, hopefully like you've never done before. So yes, all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching this video. Thanks for giving the Members Club a try. There's a trial for a reason. You have all the time in the world, well, kind of a month or so, to get stuck in, to get a feel for how I do things, and to see if it suits you, and you can kind of get to grips with it and kind of make it pay for you, I suppose. So with that said, I will shut up now, and until the next time, this is Josh saying thanks for watching. Thanks for giving the Members Club a go, and bye for now. See you soon.